Youjo Senki isn't just another war anime, it's a gritty reimagining of World War I, where magic intertwines with military strategy. Today, we're diving into the nations embroiled in this magical world war, and the real-world empires that inspired them. To grasp the essence of this magical conflict, we need to start at its heart, a nation forged from steel, strategy, and unwavering order. The empire clearly draws inspiration from the German Empire during World War I. Its capital is the city of Berlin. The fatherland sits in Central Europe, surrounded by adversaries on all sides, the Francois Republic to the west, the Entente Alliance to the north, and the Russy Federation to the east. This precarious situation shapes its military doctrine, total war, preemptive strikes, and an unwavering focus on military might above all else. Unlike its democratic neighbors, the empire operates as an authoritarian state, efficient yet inflexible, technocratic but emotionally distant. The military is the very essence of the empire. Heavily influenced by Prussian traditions, it emphasizes hierarchy, discipline, and cold, ruthless logic. Its officers are highly educated, often hailing from elite military academies, and its generals adhere to the principle of Bürgerkrieg, or war of movement, which aims for rapid, decisive campaigns. What's more, the empire's army stands out for its commitment to inclusivity, fully integrating both the nation's ethnic minorities and women. However, what truly sets the empire apart is its groundbreaking use of aerial mages. Units like the 203rd Aerial Mage Battalion, led by Major Tanya von de Gurchaff, are elite shock troops that blend magic, artillery, and flight to devastating effect. This innovation echoes Germany's historical embrace of new technologies like U-boats and stormtrooper tactics during World War I, strategies designed to outmaneuver larger coalitions through superior efficiency. But it's not just about battlefield tactics. The empire's entire economy is geared towards militarization, with industries repurposed for war and propaganda campaigns fueling national unity. The empire is led by a Kaiser along with a select group of military and bureaucratic leaders. Unlike a democracy, where decisions can take time, this system is all about centralization and quick action. While this autocratic approach allows for fast mobilization and tight control over resources, it also fosters an atmosphere where dissent is risky and unwavering loyalty is highly valued. Speaking of the emperor, it's interesting to note that he never actually appears in person, he's only referenced. However, in the manga, we often see a symbolic representation of him, hinting that he might be an alternate version of Kaiser Wilhelm. No conversation about the empire would be complete without mentioning Tanya de Gurchaff, the living weapon forged by this harsh system. Tanya embodies the empire's ideology. She's calculating, ruthless, and fixated on efficiency. Her unique backstory, being reincarnated from a modern Japanese salaryman and constantly at odds with being X, adds an intriguing layer to how the empire is depicted. Through Tanya, we witness the clash of utilitarianism, faith, and morality, along with the chilling outcomes of a system that prioritizes victory over virtue. But even the mightiest powers have their foes, and the empire's first adversary emerged from the icy north. The Legadonia Entente Alliance is a small yet fiercely independent group of northern nations, drawing heavy inspiration from Scandinavia, especially Finland. While it shares cultural and ethnic connections with the empire, it has a strong commitment to staying free and neutral until circumstances force it into conflict. The landscape is dominated by towering mountains. At the helm of the Entente Alliance is the Council of Ten. Although it's not explicitly stated, this council likely functions more like a cabinet than a parliament, given the formal titles of its members. Before the story kicks off, the Entente Alliance was grappling with a sluggish economy, growing wealth inequality, and stubbornly high unemployment rates. These issues ultimately led to a shift in leadership, bringing a nationalistic government to power. In June 1923, the Entente Alliance marched into Norden, a territory they believe is rightfully theirs, but they were decisively defeated by the empire, which declared war in retaliation. By November 4, 1924, the government that had been in charge during the war was gone, but the new administration struggled to hold back the empire's relentless advance. After losing Ostjord on December 1, the Council of Ten attempted to establish a government in exile by sending Councillor Abensaul to Albion. Unfortunately, their plans were thwarted when Tanya's 203rd Battalion intercepted the submarine he boarded. The Legadonia army was significantly weaker than the Imperial forces. Just facing a regional army group from the empire drained most of their national resources needed to keep the front lines intact. Legadonia is seen as a developing nation in terms of magic, so they have a limited number of mages. However, to make up for this shortage, the mages they do have are top-notch. They were organized into composite units, meaning a lot hinged on the commander's skill and character. They typically deployed mages for aerial operations to bolster their air force, which was somewhat underpowered. The Entente stands as a poignant example of how national identity can clash with geopolitical realities, noble in intent, but ultimately overwhelmed. As the snow blankets the shattered dreams of the Entente, another republic to the west braces itself for a reckoning. The Francois Republic stands as Youjo Senki's version of the Third French Republic, born from revolution and steeped in the ideals of republicanism and nationalism. Much like its real-world counterpart, the Francois Republic sees itself as the guardian of democratic values in a world largely ruled by monarchies and empires. However, this sense of pride is about to morph into hubris, as the Republic heads into war ill-equipped for the brutal realities of modern combat. Geographically, the Republic sits to the west of the Empire, echoing the position of France during World War I, facing a formidable eastern neighbor across a shared border. The capital, Paris, is bustling, and it's known that the Republic has several colonies on the southern continent. Politically, its democracy is lively yet chaotic, riddled with fragmented leadership and internal strife. Just like France in 1914, the Francois Republic kicked off the war with outdated tactics that hark back to past glories. Their military leaders prioritized spirit and bravery over technology and strategy, launching bold offensives that quickly devolved into bloodbaths. Yet, the Republic's military command remained stubbornly resistant to change, clinging to traditional warfare even as their adversaries adopted modern tactics. Even their mage units, which should have provided a tactical advantage, were poorly coordinated compared to the disciplined and ruthless precision of the Empire's elite forces. The tale of the Francois Republic isn't just a work of fiction, it serves as a reflection of early 20th century France. Like France during the Great War, the Republic was proud, populous, and deeply rooted in revolutionary ideals. But unlike real France, which endured and ultimately triumphed in World War I, the Francois Republic met its demise. Its defeat paints a picture of a darker alternate history, one where poor leadership, outdated strategies, and internal discord led to total destruction. Yet not everyone who steps into this conflict does so with a clear mind or proper preparation. In the southeast, arrogance collides with irrelevance. The Principality of Dacia is an aristocratic realm led by a hereditary duke who harbors imperial dreams. Once a respected regional power, its glory days are now just a memory. Yet, its leaders cling to the belief that they are destined for greatness, eager to reclaim their so-called rightful place on the global stage. Dacia takes inspiration from the Kingdom of Romania, but despite being the same size as its royal counterpart back in 1939, its technology feels like it's stuck in the 19th century. The name Dacia harks back to the tribes and regions that populated Romania during the Roman Empire. The government operates under a monarchical aristocratic system, with a Grand Duke at the helm, surrounded by a court of aging generals and flattering ministers. Their ideology revolves around nationalism, expansionism, and a misguided faith in outdated military strategies. On paper, Dacia boasts a large military, but in practice, it's hopelessly outdated. Their strategies harken back to 19th century warfare, focusing on mass infantry and cavalry charges, tactics that are disastrous against modern adversaries like the Empire. Their goal was to seize the territory of Imperial Dacia, located in Hungary, under the assumption that the Empire couldn't defend itself on a third front. However, their lackluster performance and military shortcomings proved to be their downfall. The Empire easily annexed Dacia, installing administrators and dismantling what little remained of its military. Resistance was minimal. The Grand Duke and his court either fled or surrendered, their dreams of glory dashed forever. The Principality of Dacia stands as a cautionary tale, showing that pride without power and honor without foresight lead only to destruction. In a world dominated by fire and steel, delusion is a recipe for disaster. But beyond the mountains and the blood-soaked fields, there stands a frozen giant, an ideological colossus born from revolution and governed by fear. And if you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Russy Federation serves as a clear parallel to Soviet Russia. Nestled in the vast eastern reaches of the Youjo Senki world, it covers an enormous area, brimming with resources yet harsh in its climate. Its capital, Moskva, is a focal point of this regime. Interestingly, the anime takes a creative liberty by including Finland as part of its territory, a detail that doesn't appear in either the novel or the manga. Much like its real-world counterpart, the Federation emerged from a revolution. While specifics are limited, it suggests that a previous aristocracy was overthrown, paving the way for a centralized, authoritarian government. This state maintains control through ideology, military might, and fear. The citizens exist to serve the Federation, where dissent is swiftly silenced, and obedience is the key to survival. This situation impacted not just the revolution's adversaries, but also high-ranking officials in the Tsarist regime, and even mages who were seen as a threat. On Loria's orders, they were dispatched to Legaries in Silveria, inadvertently undermining his own army. At the helm of the Federation is a powerful and paranoid leadership, a Politburo led by Party Secretary General Joseph Dugashvili and his trusted ally, Internal Affairs Commissioner Loria. The regime employs state propaganda to foster loyalty, promising ideals of equality and unity, while delivering nothing but war and oppression. Society is deeply divided. Party elites bask in privilege, while everyday citizens are treated as mere cogs in the machinery of industry and war. Religion is stifled, and free speech is a distant memory. The state is revered as a god, and the army serves as its weapon. Children are raised not for a fulfilling life, but for labor and unwavering loyalty. Patriotism is enforced, and any hint of betrayal is met with death or forced disappearance. With ambitions to spread communism to the West, and after being ex-haunted Joseph in his dreams, the Federation ultimately declared war on the Empire, igniting the Eastern Front, one of the war's bloodiest theaters. The Rusy Federation boasts the largest pool of manpower in the world. Its military strategy reflects its resources, prioritizing quantity over quality. Waves of inadequately trained infantry, extensive conscription, and a strategy of attrition echo the tactics of Stalin-era Soviet forces. Yet, the Federation is not devoid of magical capabilities. It fields a significant number of aerial mages, though they lack the precision and equipment that the Empire's elite battalions possess. Instead, the Federation leans on overwhelming force, magical artillery barrages, and sheer numbers to wear down the enemy. The Rusy Federation doesn't merely engage in combat with weapons, it battles with ideology. It champions the supremacy of the state, the obliteration of individual identity, and the inevitability of class struggle. Every soldier is indoctrinated to fight not just for survival, but for a promised utopia, a falsehood they are expected to sacrifice their lives for. The outcome is a war machine fueled by a volatile blend of fear, hope, and propaganda. A perilous concoction that turns ordinary people into fervent believers, ready to spill blood for their cause. Against the rising tide of authoritarianism, standing firm is an island nation, steady, strategic, and deeply rooted in tradition. The Commonwealth is a formidable democratic maritime power situated to the west of the Empire, drawing significant inspiration from Great Britain during World War I. It plays a vital role as one of the primary opposition forces to the Empire, reflecting many traits of real-world liberal democracies from the early 20th century. Its capital is the city of Londinium, and it's also known to have many colonies around the world. Interestingly, Londinium was the name given to the city of London when it was under Roman rule, while Albion is the oldest known name for Great Britain. The Commonwealth places a high value on democracy, colonial interests, and maintaining a balance of power. Its political system is parliamentary, and its society takes great pride in order, tradition, and a robust navy. When it comes to military strength, the Commonwealth's army is relatively weaker compared to its navy. Aerial mages play a crucial role, acting as a flexible rapid response and fire support unit that collaborates with other military branches. The Mage Corps also functions as an operational reserve for intercepting enemy mages, supporting ground formations, and assisting naval units, while also serving as an offensive force to breach enemy lines and defenses. Notably, the Commonwealth is one of the few nations with a well-organized intelligence service that includes both conventional and covert branches, dedicated to gathering information on enemy deployments, readiness, and strategies. Initially, their stance on the war was neutral, but after the Empire's victory over the Republic, fear of a rising power compelled them to join the conflict. In the warm embrace of the southern seas, another player is biding its time, one that adapts to the shifting tides of war and opportunity. The Kingdom of Ildoa, inspired by Italy, stands as a southern power with dreams of expansion, blending traditional values with a dash of opportunism. Its political landscape is a mix of monarchy and parliamentary influence, which often leads to lively debates and a fair bit of indecision. Ildoa boasts a formidable navy and skilled magical academies, but its military leadership can be a bit hit or miss. Their involvement in the war is unpredictable, often swayed by convenience rather than a firm ideology. They're a bit of a wild card, sometimes a friend, sometimes a foe. Ildoa has established some colonies on the southern continent, working to extend its reach while competing with the Republic and the Commonwealth. Although they are allied with the Empire, they've maintained a neutral stance since the onset of the Great War, attempting to mediate the conflict in hopes of restoring peace across the continent. The military of the Kingdom of Ildoa strikes a balance between its army and navy. However, their national strength and economy are struggling, and the royal army has several critical weaknesses, making them less inclined to actively participate in the Great War. But even as the old world is engulfed in flames, a slumbering giant awakens across the ocean, a nation whose quietude might just be its most powerful asset. The Unified States is a democratic nation situated on the continent to the west of where most of the series' countries are found. Although it leans towards isolationism, it stands as a formidable power with a sprawling territory, a large population, and vast natural and financial resources. For much of the war, they chose to remain neutral, focusing mainly on supplying resources to the Commonwealth and Federation. Details about their technology, military, navy, and air force are scarce. In the manga, it's noted that the US and the Empire are the only two nations that allow female soldiers to serve. The Unified States follow a late-entry strategy, observing the chaos on the continent before deciding to intervene. While they initially prioritize diplomacy, once they commit, their cutting-edge magical technology and unmatched production capabilities position them as a key player. Beyond that, the only other notable detail is that it's the birthplace of Mary's mother, where they briefly resided after escaping the war. Let's take a closer look at some intriguing regions. The Wallstatt Confederation is a quaint little state nestled between the Empire, the Republic, and Ildoa, much like Switzerland. While it may not hold much weight on the global stage, it does have the distinction of being the birthplace of the weapon that Mary gifts to her father. Next up is the Collective of Hispania, which spans the entire Iberian Peninsula, merging the cultures of Spain and Portugal, along with a few colonies on the southern continent. Its stance of neutrality in the ongoing war stems from some internal political strife. Then we have Rumelia Magna, a nation that covers the Balkans and Anatolia, though its size can shift depending on the story being told. Honestly, it doesn't play a significant role in the grand scheme of things. Moving on to the Principality of Turkmen, this country has made its mark on the southern continent, leading to some tensions with the Kingdom of Ildoa during the colonial era. However, its exact location remains a bit of a mystery. Finally, there's the Akatsushima domain, a nation situated in the Far East, inspired by the Empire of Japan. It's worth noting that it was once involved in a conflict against the Federation in the past. These are the nations in the world of Youjo Senki, each one a unique twist on our own history, shaped by magic, conflict, and ambition. Which nation do you think feels the most realistic, or perhaps the most doomed? Is it the Empire with its chilling efficiency, the Federation driven by ideology, or the tragic fate of the Francois Republic? Do you think the Empire could have triumphed if it weren't for Tanya's unconventional leadership? Or is the Unified States the real giant waiting to awaken? Let's get into it in the comments. If you're craving more in-depth anime discussions, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss our next analysis. Until next time, keep that computation orb charged, and I'll catch you in the next video.